Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodesh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who are the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risk their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who are suffering under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and this video is about the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast is a microchip, and that is it right there. This is the mark of the beast, okay? And I seen this, as you can see, posted 59 minutes ago from Redacted, a microchip in your hand. Sweden's digital ID microchip experiment 10 years later. So I seen that they posted this and I started to watch some of the video, but I paused it and, the Spirit inspired me to turn on the camera. All right, because there's something about the tone of this video that is suspicious. Okay. To me, these people of Redacted, it appears that they are controlled opposition, in my opinion, just speaking as a man. All right, when you read about these people, about Natalie and Clayton Morris is a former Fox News anchor. Natalie Morris is a former anchor and reporter for MSNBC, CNBC, and CBS News. So they in the machine. Anyone who gets into, that kind of part of work, of society, to be a news anchor, they're agents, man. That's what I believe. All right, because y'all know what it is with the news, man. All right, and the scriptures say it plainly, we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. We're not ignorant to his ways. And the Lord exposed Esau. So we know that a lot of his news is fake, but also real. It's like a mix of it. And the news anchors, it's not really how they depict it all to be, right? It really is Esau creating whatever kind of news narrative and push whatever kind of stories that they want to push. And these people that are hired to be the news anchors and to be a part of that entire machine, those are actors. All right, look at Anderson Cooper and his lineage and where he comes from, right? I believe he's what, CNN or something? I don't even know if he's still working. I haven't watched CNN in a very long time, but he comes from, a certain part of the wicked elite of Esau Edom, so many of these people are just simply set up, is my point. And these people, they were a part of it, but they're not on Fox anymore. Instead, they are pushing narratives via YouTube, right? Because that's what Esau does. Esau will push the narrative up on every platform, on all angles. All right, so just wanted to say that because the tone of this video is quite interesting, because they talking about the mark of the beast, right? And they talking about, which is the microchip, and they talking about the thing about Sweden, right? From, several years ago, as they say, 10 years later, right? But it appears that they're doing a redirect of the situation at hand, right? And there's something about it where, to me, it's letting us know that we're close. Because, which, of course, we've been saying that the prophets of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, we are close, but we're closer than perhaps we realize. Because, Esau, when it is that he starts to have his agents start to, address this topic and address it in various different kinds of ways, One of the methods that he does is that he appears that he's against it, but he's really for it. That's one of the things they do. But when it is that the agents are speaking about this and trying to do a redirect to say that something else is a bigger problem or issue, it means that they're getting ready to start making the push towards that microchip. And that means that they're going to start using their celebrities as well to start pushing the microchip, all of their agents. Okay, so let's take a listen to it.
And their plan, which would have everyday citizens opting to have microchips. Well, a few years ago here on Redacted, we covered Sweden's bizarre microchip implanting story and their plan, which would have everyday citizens opting to have.
So they call it bizarre to make it seem like this strange thing.
Microchips implanted right into their bodies, right into their hands, the RFID or near field communications chips, or NFC, basically the size of a grain of rice. And thousands of Swedes took the plunge. And since this story first published, many more thousands have taken the plunge. The idea is that the chips would speed up your user's daily life, make their lives more convenient, access their homes, office, gyms, just swipe it right on your door or keypad and you're right in there. Here is one of the individuals lining up to get one of the chip implants. And just being able to get it, poked, all digital now, and all they want to do is track you. Well, today we're thrilled to have Maria forward to. There were waiting lists. Companies could insert these things. They couldn't.
Hold on, Salakio. I tried to zoom in, but then it messed up. Okay.
Was lining up to get one of the chip implants, and just being able to get it. Poked right in the hands. Now, when the program started, the demand was off the charts. There were waiting lists. Companies could insert these things. They couldn't insert these things fast enough. And then shortly after it won high praise from the World Economic Forum.
Of course.
Well, yeah.
Because let's think about 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, let me get the video. So this is, or who was the head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, right? The WEF. And he made a comment regarding the microchip, right? So this interview was January 10th, 2016. Now we are in the year 2026, so it is exactly 10 years later. And this redacted, who I believe they're set up, controlled opposition, whatever they are, agents, all right? Now they're talking about this at this point, okay? And then and just in general, the overall prevalence of this, microchip in society. The other day, a brother seen somebody with the microchip in their hand, literally use it to make a payment in front of him, all right? On social media, a girl came out the other day and she was like how she's gonna get her brain microchip. Okay? You got the girl Chip Girl with her microchip and she shows you she's using the microchip. Other social media people talking about their brain microchip or using their microchip. It's all becoming a very focused topic, and there's a reason for that. It's because we're close to its manifestation, the mark of the beast prophecy. Okay, so let's listen to what Klaus Schwab said exactly 10 years ago. Well, you can see it, right? In this interview given on January 10, 2016 to the Swiss channel RTS, he explains that human beings will soon receive a chip in their body in order to merge with the digital world, which the digital world is what they're implementing right now. It is what is the fourth industrial revolution. Okay, which is really just another name for Esau's New World Order. So he says, let's see. It's in French, so I'll just read the captions. Today, at the end of this, we are talking about chips that can be implanted. When will that be? Certainly in the next 10 years. So this was 2016, now we in 2026. And he said in 2016, in 10 years, now we 10 years later, and at first we will implant them in our clothes.
On va les implanter dans nos vêtements, c'est-à-dire wearables, comme on le dit. Et après,
And then we could imagine that we will implant them in our brains and in our skin. So you see, brains and skin. Okay. Revelation 13 and verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So he mentioned head and skin, right? The head, he's referring to the brain microchip. So he was talking about it in 2016, and then a few years later, what happened? The Neuralink came out with the brain microchip, and now there are multiple manufacturers for the brain microchip and a mass manufacturing of launching several of these brain microchips as well. Okay, they're putting it into mass production, right? That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so it has reached to a point now where the technology is out there and it's successfully implanted both in the hand and the brain microchip. So all we're just waiting for right now is for them to make it mandatory in order to buy or sell, which will also, include them implementing the system itself, which is the digital public infrastructure and, the things that they've implemented as stepping stones heading towards the microchip, such as the digital ID, right? Which is all about consolidating all of your information into one place, and then they'll just transfer it onto the microchip. And then the central bank digital currencies, which is a preparation towards it, because a microchip is what? A digital device that makes digital payments, right? So they don't have any need for cash. And the microchip is going to be the only way to make payments. So everything is going digital. The money is going completely digital. So they've been making these steps and implementing them gradually over time, and these things do take time. Okay? But but it's very telling when he mentions in the brain and then the skin. Okay, so and we know what the skin means, right? No need for anyone to the scoffers will always be obtuse, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so let me go back to the redacted video. Actually, I'll just play a few more of this, and in the end, maybe there will be a direct communication between our brain and the digital world.
notre cerveau et le monde digital. Ce que nous voyons,
What we see is a kind of fusion of the physical, digital, and biological world, which is actually what the fourth industrial revolution is.
Le réflexe de devoir prendre un appareil, ça se fait naturellement. Hein.
Well, a part of it, right?
Le corps.
voyez-vous,
Okay, so I'll go back to the redacted video. And also, fair use, everything is fair use, just in case, man. All right, so go back to this.
When you get it, no big deal.
Imagine
Just-
telling our youngest, who hates shots,
Yeah.
that you're just going to get this chip forever. It's only going to hurt for a little bit.
And
Like,
we'll be able to track everything that you do.
yeah.
Yeah. Flash forward to 2026, and now these and where are things at with this program? We wanted to check in on this program, see how it's being floated for digital IDs, digital currency, how it's competing with the incredibly popular bank ID system in Sweden. It's very, very popular. It's almost at 100% usage, the bank ID system in Sweden. 100%, up to 8.7 million users now across the country. It's basically their dominant digital ID system. So is there a marriage between like implanting yourself with these chips and using the country's digital ID system? Forget cash, forget everything. It's all digital now, and all they want to do is track.
Well, that's simple. It's called the biometric microchip. It's also called the RFID microchip. Also, the transdermal microchip is the microchip. Whatever name it is, it's all the same thing. And a part of the microchip itself is the identifying function of it, that your biometrics are attached to it. And your digital ID, the one that is being implemented around the world already, right, will include your biometrics. Okay? So yes, they will be tied in together, and they are to be tied in together, as in the digital ID will tie into the microchip, where it will simply be transferred onto it. All right, because we know how the microchip works. It's a device that stores all of this information about a person: banking information, medical information, biometrics information, government information, everything. And when you look at the model for the digital ID, the same digital ID that was proposed by the World Economic Forum, it is a system of having everything about you and yourself attached to it. And here's the proof. So the digital ID will have all of it's a one-stop shop. It has everything attached to it: your biometrics and identifications, healthcare, financial services, everything, as you can see it, man. And when you look at how the microchip works, how it functions, its purpose, you can clearly see that the digital ID is a stepping stone towards the microchip. Once again, it will simply just be transferred onto it.
Well, today we're thrilled to have Maria Z joining us today to talk all about this from Z Media, and who's been watching, of course. She has very keen insights into watching how all of this tracking across these countries around Europe, through Australia, the United States, are unfolding, and watching this legislation that's been moving. Great to see you, Maria. Welcome back to the show.
Great. You both again. Thank you so much for inviting me. These particular chips, I will say from the outset, I'm not that worried about the microchips, and I'll explain why. The uptake, yes, there were a few thousand people that rushed to do it in the beginning, but I think that pretty much after 2018, that slowed down a lot. There was the initial rush of, a few thousand that said, yeah, this is great, and were probably paid to do it. But it's not something that's widely popular at this stage. What I'm more concerned about, truthfully, is an admission from MIT that happened in November of 2025. So a publication from MIT News actually reads, quote, "New therapeutic brain implants could defy the need for surgery." Now, I'll read you a couple of quotes from this article. It is extremely alarming. MIT researchers developed microscopic wireless bioelectronics that could travel through the body's circulatory system and autonomously self-implant in a target region of the brain where they could provide quote-unquote focused treatment, because it's about treating Alzheimer's and things of this nature, right? Not covert operations, everyone. In a study on mice, the researchers show that after injection, these minuscule implants can identify and travel to a specific brain region without the need for human guidance. Once there, they can be wirelessly powered to provide electrical stimulation to the precise area. So a couple of things here. We're talking about self-assembling nanotechnology that can form brain implants that is, one, done through injection, so vaccines, and two, does not need any human intervention once it's been administered through the quote-unquote vaccine. Now, we know, Clayton, that this is happening through geoengineering. Smart dust has been happening for a very, very long time, and we know that they can administer various types of nanotechnology that can be self-replicating, self-programming through vaccines and other medicines, and also potentially through our food. I'm actually far more concerned about the covert applications of this type of technology than I am about people going and implanting themselves. I dare say there could be quite a few people walking around with chips already inside of them without knowing it's actually there.
Wait, what is smart dust?
So you see the redirection that they're doing there. It's like they're saying, oh, yeah, the microchip is out there, but it's not like a big deal. Yeah, it has certain little things to it that people might, not find so normal, but it's not a big deal. There's something even worse out there, which this thing that they're talking about, that's not the prophecy. What John saw regarding the mark of the beast prophecy is that he saw people being implanted with it. Okay? He saw at Mark, Revelation 13 and verse 16, G5480, Karagmo, a stamped and imprinted mark. That's the literal microchip. And then he described the Karax, G5482, right? He described something as the Karax, which the Karax is the device used to administer the microchip. So the microchip is administered via the Karax, okay? It's not some kind of whatever they're trying to redirect the people for. Okay, talking about the smart dust thing or whatever. Talking about people probably have with microchips inside of them without knowing and all these kinds of stuff. This is the controlled opposition agent behavior that I'm talking about. But it's very telling that they're talking about it in the first place. We close.
That you mentioned?
Smart dust, they've been geoengineering for a very, very long time, as you both know. Smart dust is essentially programmable dust. This is something that is not detected through the human eye. People talk about how it forms structures even on their walls. I mean, there's a lot of anecdotal information about what smart dust has achieved, but basically when you're talking about the various chemicals that they're spraying, and that also, by the way, includes graphene, Dane Wigington has done independent testing of soil and air and things of this nature and found graphene immediately present after geoengineering has occurred. When you look at what they refer to when it comes to graphene, they say that it's essentially a miracle component that they have started using in medicine. And you'd recall Albert Bourla talking about how, you know, in the future we're going to have these pills that people can take and they'll tell us whether the person's taken it, what it's doing inside of their bodies. That of course is achieved through graphene because it is highly conductive. It is able to send a message back to them, and it's no secret, this isn't a conspiracy theory. Albert Bourla himself has spoken about their ability to do this. There's been a lot of talk back and forward as to whether they can achieve this through geoengineering or vaccines or things of this nature. Their literature absolutely says that it can, and these studies go back decades.
Yeah, here's just an example of some of the graphene oxide being manipulated using different frequencies. So this is exactly what, individuals like Dane Wigington have been talking about, David Icke, the manipulation of graphene oxide that's in our bodies, these nanoparticles that can be manipulated and moved. So I think you're right. I think you're hitting on something, because when you look at just the thousands of people that have like willingly put these microchips in their hands, that's a small percentage. But so many people have this in their bodies because of, geoengineering, because of what they're spraying in our skies, and because of these COVID jabs.
I love the ebony frame just
Yes, let me give you some really shocking information. You may know about this. A lot of people don't, actually. So I spoke to Nick Holscher a little while ago, prominent epidemiologist, after I learned about what MIT had admitted here, and asked him whether it was possible that they already covertly did this through the COVID injections. He said, definitely possible. There is some evidence to suggest that they did. But there is another very, very important puzzle piece here, and it comes to us from Bar Ilan University, that's BARILAN University in Israel. And their chief scientist, Ido Bachelet, was actually presenting presenting a TED Talk all the way back in 2013. And he basically said at that time, we can implant he said that we can implant hundreds of billions, or 1,000 billion, I think he said, nanorobots into a vaccine. He proudly held up a vaccine during that TED Talk. I've done a whole expose on this. He then said in his presentation that people can, they can ensure that they don't, quote unquote, lose control of the nanorobots after they've been injected into people. He stated, Bachelet, which is real-time data being sent.
So you see what they're actually really focusing on and talking on regarding what is an actual issue, while they diminish the situation of what the microchip is. This is what this video is about. And it is very random that they have simply just all of a sudden done a video talking about the microchip, but then within the video it's a redirect to this whole other thing.
To the powers that be of everything that's going on inside of your body at any given time, and also, of course, your ability to bank, aka mine cryptocurrency, with your body's data, which will tell the powers that be if you are being compliant or not.
I mean, this is a transhumanist agenda. How far do you think that they will take it? I mean, we see evidence of this every single day, of the desire to continuously break down the human elements of our lived experience, but only for us, not for the elites. And, you know, can you play out how far they want to take it?
Yeah, it's always for safety.
Yes, you only need to look to the government of Canada to see how far they want to take it. They publish something,
Killing
Policy
you.
Horizons. Well,
Yeah.
right, no, but they actually publish something, Policy Horizons, publish something called Biodigital Convergence. It's an official publication from the government of Canada, and they give you some fictional scenarios in there, but it's absolutely where they want to take it. And they say that we're going to live in a future where you wake up in the morning and the AI that is connected to you through sensors inside your body, which of course are enabled through self-assembling nanotechnology, which can
No. You see, I didn't watch this part of the video, all right, but you can see it, right? The microchip itself, let me listen to her once more.
where they want to take it. And they say that we're going to live in a future where you wake up in the morning and the AI that is connected to you through sensors inside your body, which of course are enabled through self-assembling nanotechnology, which can happen covertly. That AI, you wake up, the AI will say, okay, you're missing this vitamin or this nutrient. And
No, that's all going to be done through the microchip. That's what I wanted to say. All of that is already going to be done through the microchip, because the brain microchip, it has already come out via social media, where a man, he received the brain microchip, the Neuralink microchip. He looked like a so-called black man, and he said that the reason why he got it was because he wanted to be able to check his vitals, and that's what it does. It's able to see, and however it works, know what's going on with his body. And then he said the reason why he's making the video, though, is because he's extremely shocked due to the very swift and rapid advancements in what the brain microchip can do, because when it was advertised to him, it was just advertised for that purpose. But all of a sudden, it has reached all new levels, and those levels that he's referring to are the levels such as the individuals with the brain microchip being able to communicate with external technologies and control those external technologies by way of the brain microchip. And I'm talking about these people are paraplegic, okay? So it's all by way of however it works and how it communicates to the external technologies. And he said he was very shocked by that, those developments, okay?
it's going to 3D print it from your counter and give you what you need based on what the AI has assessed that you need.
G technology and otherwise. So they don't need us. They don't need us to go down to the clinic and get a microchip in our hand. Yeah.
There's part of me that's also anxietized about having old technology. Like if
you see the redirect once again.
I guess I'm heartened in one way. It's we're not getting, the government is not forcing people to get these implants, but they're doing it in far more nefarious ways, which is spraying our skies with it so that they're able to manipulate us through 6G technology and otherwise. So they don't need us. They don't need us to go down to the clinic and get a microchip.
That's why it's called controlled opposition, because they will appear to, and this is the same kind of narrative, kind of speech, that when you read Esau's articles, news articles, you'll see that they often have this way as to how they do things when they're pushing something. They never just go full blast out the gate. They always take their time with it, and they'll tell you, oh, we don't like these things, but here are the 20 positive things that are going on with it. And then other misdirection to attack other things at the same time. This is what they're doing.
Our hand. Yeah.
there's
To
part
say, oh, don't focus on the microchip. This, that ain't nothing. It's all about this whole other thing that they're conjuring.
that's also anxietized about having old technology. Like if you're going to give me, how fast technology
the latest.
evolves, like I don't want an iPhone 5 inside How are we going to make sure?
Yeah, I'd be like, Natalie, she's got an iPhone 3GS in her hand.
Yeah, I mean, how are they going to make sure they continuously upgrade me if I do become a transhumanist experiment?
God.
I will just end on this. I truly do believe, and I believe that the quote-unquote elites believe that our free will actually does matter. And although they do the revelation of the method and they tell us what they're doing beforehand, and if we don't, push back, then that's sort of our consent. I don't think that if you are a human being that is aware of this information, which is why it's so important that you're both covering this, if you're someone that's aware of this and internally your free will says, I'm not participating, for them and their occult mad rituals.
Anyway, you can see it, you can see it. But the thing about it is, it's a critical matter. The microchip is a very serious matter for the children of Israel. Do not take the microchip because it is the mark of the beast. And if you are in America and you take the microchip, you will take part in the lake of fire. Right? Revelation chapter 14, verse 9 to 10. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So the mark of the beast is going to be, which is that microchip, is going to be the biggest event in the world, right? That's going to happen until the return of our Lord Yahushai, which is going to be an even bigger event. But this microchip, man, once they make it mandatory worldwide, it's only a matter of time before Yahushai returns. But once again, and I will reiterate, it is very telling when Esau, what I believe is their control opposition, is suddenly, out of the blue, just randomly, talking about the microchip, talking about the Sweden going back there, because these are reference points that we take. Even when the dude mentioned, digital IDs and central bank digital currencies, it looks like, like they're watching the videos of the prophets and they're taking these things and addressing them in a very subtle way regarding like how we, the things that we bring up regarding the system being implemented to then facilitate the microchip on a mandatory and global scale. Okay? So that's what it is, man. I rewatched the part in the video and I want to play it once more to show you.
Will betray you by the use of patent 0606, of course.
Unbelievable. Well, thank you so much, Marie. We really appreciate it. And I guess I'm heartened in one way. It's we're not getting, the government is not forcing people to get these implants, but they're doing it in far more nefarious ways, which is spraying our skies with it so that they're able to manipulate us through 6G technology and otherwise. So they don't need us. They don't need us to go down to the clinic and get a microchip in our hand. Yeah.
There's part of me that's also
You
anxietized.
see? Diminishing the severity of the situation itself and making light of it. We're close to the prophecy, man, and as the scriptures say in Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 3, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come, it will not tarry. The vision are these prophecies, and they will speak at the end of the rulership of the Edomites, which Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Yahushai returns at the end of the rulership of the Edomites to put them out of their rulership. All right? So we're in that time, and this topic will only become more and more and more prevalent as time goes on. You're going to see certain other control opposition agents starting to talk about it, try to diminish the severity of it, try to, paint a certain kind of narrative, and then they're going to have their celebrity agents that are going to be promoting it. The athletes are going to be promoting it. All these people are going to be promoting it, man, which also means that they are going to start taking our videos off of the YouTube. regarding this topic. So the famine of the word prophecy is also on its way. With that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Kodesh. Shalom.